Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dailey Blend Show, episode 67. Today is Friday, August 27th, 2022. We got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk about tequila because, it's Friday. 7-Eleven is cool again. Mick Batsky might be my favorite DJ / creative / entrepreneur. We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to jump into some cool stuff. Mercedes-Benz launched with the deceased Virgil Abloh, and then talk about soccer. Before we jump in the show, just want to remind everyone that the Dailey Blend show is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. You can find Dailey Blend on Instagram and Twitter, of course, daileyblend.com, and you can find me, Reed Dailey, on Instagram and Twitter at Reed Dailey. That's REED. Dailey, a little different spelling. All right, with all that said, let's jump into the show. So the first story I want to talk about is tequila. And so I discovered Jon Basil, thanks to a longtime college friend of mine, that had some inroads into the brand. And I saw it on one of her social media posts. And I dug a little deeper and found out that it was founded by two Chicago natives, Tahir and Umbolo, who set out to be the youngest creators of premium liquor. And as someone who tried their bottle the other day for the first time, I got the Reposado, of course. I was very pleased. A little background on the brand. It launched in 2018, so a little bit before the pandemic, and it was named after Umbolo's father, following on an inspirational visit to Jalisco, Mexico, and I am just crushing the name of that city. Their tequila has amassed a loyal following. 15,000 folks in Illinois. So, you see the connection there. I'm being in Chicago, Illinois area, and the pair will start distributing it to other states with Walmart, Benny's, and Mariano's. I believe I picked mine up actually at Jewel. So my guess is they've expanded beyond just those three. All right, so let's jump on to the next story. So I called it out as 7-Eleven is cool again. 7-Eleven, the convenience store you all love, from the Slurpees to the churros or hot dogs, they've tapped overtime and are putting out a limited edition apparel collection. It's a series of exciting summer merch that's been greatly influenced by the world of streetwear, sneakers, and sports, hence why I'm a big fan of it. I say that as I am prepping for a weekly status call in business on the top and Jordans on the bottom, if you're very curious. Jordan Cement 3s. For the latest drop, 7-Eleven has teamed up, and they've got some very cool designers and tastemakers, and you can go check them out. I linked it on daileyblend.com. And good luck getting it. I'm sure the bots will hit it, but check out sites like StockX and GOAT for secondhand resells. I was about to record, or I did record, the intro for the third story, and my new puppy was sitting in the background playing with one of those squeaker toys, and it was arguably one of my best sort of story reads, if you will, so I'm a little perturbed, but we will move on. So the third story comes in from Brooklyn, New York, and it is all about DJ, entrepreneur, investor, brand consultant Mick Batsky. So I don't know Mick personally, and I would say I admire him from afar. He's a DJ full-time. He's a tech investor. I think he has a couple other small businesses. And he's also a father of a young kid. I have a daughter kind of at the same age. I'm a big sneakerhead. So, his full-time gig is what I like to do on my part-time gig. And what I'm really impressed with him is how he's leveraged his DJ brand to gain access and insights into different ways to operate and execute. And what do I mean by that? Well, he's released, I don't know how many countless mixtapes, 10 total summertime mixtapes with DJ Jazzy Jeff. Yes, that one from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He DJs all sorts of corporate events around the globe, high-end brands, and as a result has gained access to really forward-thinking, high influence, I don't want to call it net worth, but like folks that are moving the needle. And he's talked about this on a number of interviews, both on his podcast that you can find on Spotify. We'll obviously link it, and some YouTube videos where he's given some lectures. And so the two themes that I always hear from him is, personal brand and how to leverage your network to move to the next level. And I can appreciate that on so many levels. And as someone who really likes culture and music, and the fact that he kind of crosses those two categories is very interesting to me. So my hat's off to Mick. My hope is that one day I'll get the chance to meet him. I'd love to pick his brain on just how he thinks he can go from, operating, executing, and then what are the steps or framework he's using to kind of take his, career life, multidisciplinary, go-to-market kind of brand to the next level, and how he works with other brands to help them be successful applying some of his learnings from 20 plus years in the music and entertainment business. So head to daileyblend.com. I've linked his SoundCloud, YouTube, Mixcloud.com, Twitter and Instagram. He's got a ton of content, and go check him out. So the next story is talking about the intersect between Mercedes-Benz and Virgil Abloh. So for those less familiar, Virgil was a Chicago-based creative, and I'll use the word creative because he was a DJ, musician, art director, architectural designer, fashion designer. He had his own, he had his own company called Off-White. The company is still around. He is deceased. He was the head of creative directory, I think, or creative for Louis Vuitton, and he partnered with Mercedes. So the first partnership put together what can best be described as a race car G-Wagon, and it looked like almost like a NASCAR race car from the 80s, and it was really cool. And he put out a Maybach, which has recently gotten some press because it was in the Drake video for his song Sticky. But I watched the YouTube video, and we've linked to it in the post. And what was really cool is just listening to him talk about how he looks at a project and how like tweaking one thing can have influence on so many other things. And it was really cool to just hear how the team from Daimler or Mercedes approached the project and really took something that they had done and really moved in a different direction. This was not like we changed the paint color. This was a total different approach to off-roading and how you could bridge the gap between off-road and luxury. And it's a 12-minute video. Highly recommend it. And it's really cool just to see the German sort of engineering and approach and how that aligns to creatives. So the fifth story is really about the road to the World Cup. And I've been getting really excited about soccer more recently. I think it's a combination of the EPL is back, the World Cup is coming, and it's in November and December, which is very different. It's usually in the summertime. And my kid is now starting to play soccer. I grew up playing soccer and played all the way through grad school and then a little after that. But the U.S. World Cup teams, not only are they good, but they're in a pretty easy bracket. It's not the bracket of death, if you will, and then we've had that in years past. So I think we've got a really good chance to move out of the qualifying rounds. And for those less familiar, there are A through H groups, and there's 4 teams. So you play 3 games, and then I think 2 teams advance from each bracket. So over the coming months, you're going to see different play-in games, or not play-in games. So what do you call those? Qualifying is already done. So these are just the friendly games. And the U.S. is about to launch their new jerseys for home and away. So there will be all sorts of cool merch that's going to come up. Although I did see what I think is a leak of the jersey. It looks like something sort of a throwback to the 90s that just looked pretty plain, but whatever. And then I did want to call out one thing. The jersey's going to be like $100. If you don't want to spend $100, go buy the practice jerseys, and they're pretty much the same thing. They look pretty cool, and they're usually like $40. But anyway, you're going to be hearing way more from me on the World Cup qualifying on Dailey Blend show and on my socials. Obviously, I'm going to be rooting for this. I'm very interested to see what the times are. I think from what I've read, they're all supposed to be, the 2 p.m. Eastern time, but I've also heard that they've changed up some of the game times. So as it stands, we've got Wales on November 21st. Then we play England on November 25th. And we finish up the last of the first round qualifying games to the single elimination on November 29th in Iran. And so hopefully those times do not change. 2 p.m. is a pretty easy time to watch a game. I know I will be taking off work. I highly suggest you do too. And with that said, that wraps up this week's episode of the Dailey Blend Show. The next episode, we're actually going to have a fantastic interview with a watch entrepreneur. So that will be up live early next week. So be on the lookout for that. As always, like, follow, and subscribe Dailey Blend and the Dailey Blend Show on social and your favorite podcast platform. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But I'm pretty big on Instagram, if I'm being honest. And with that said, enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in.